Hey guys, my name is Sasha. I'm a first year college student in London, UK. Welcome to Real Talk episode 2. And today we're going to dive into a topic that I think many people can either relate to or should be more conscious of, and that is being happy alone, and more so, how to be happy alone. I'll be sharing my personal experience and sort of how the absence of being alone, or sorry, so I'll be sharing how the absence of being happy alone affected me and how I eventually learned to find happiness within myself and be happy by myself. I want to preface the whole video by saying I'm not a professional. Um, these are just my thoughts, experiences, and opinions. You might relate to something, you might not. You might find something I talk about helpful, you might not. So just take what resonates with you, leave what doesn't, and let's get into the video. So, growing up, I didn't really understand what it meant to be happy on my own. When I was younger, I moved from my hometown of Kiev, Ukraine, to a town in South Florida for middle and high school, and that transition was pretty tough. I found myself in a completely new environment where everybody already knew each other, and I really struggled to fit into that space. People didn't seem to accept me very much. People didn't seem to accept me very much, and I felt very isolated at certain points. Everyone was already friends since elementary school. They'd known each other for years, and I come from a very different culture, a very different environment from not just the US, but just South Florida and where I lived in general. So, to cope with that, I sort of started shifting my personality and my character and almost pretending to be someone who I wasn't, creating this almost fake persona to be liked by other people. Looking back, that was definitely a really bad idea. Obviously, if people don't accept you for who you truly are, your hobbies, what you enjoy doing, your style, your character, your personality, they're just not your people. They're not for you. You're not for them. That's all it is. And it's a lesson that I wish I learned a lot sooner. But I suppose better late than never. So, and during that time in middle school, I spent a lot of time online, a lot of time playing video games by myself in my room, not trying to socialize. It was pretty draining because on the front, when I would go and see all my quote unquote friends, I would just be trying to fit in and trying to be this person that I wasn't. When I came back, I was spending all the time playing video games. It was not a good situation for me at all. And that definitely caused some more issues down the line. And throughout high school, post COVID, COVID was a very interesting time. But after COVID, these experiences definitely affected me in a way that obviously I wish they didn't, but it's all learning experience, correct? Um, and a great example would be my very first relationship that I had during my junior year of high school. Throughout my relationship with my then girlfriend, I almost tried to mold myself into what she wanted me to be, and that something was not anywhere close to who I truly was. And it was this completely different character who I wasn't that person, but I tried so hard to be that person for her, for that relationship, and it drained me. It completely destroyed my mental health. I stopped talking to everybody at one point, and it was almost like I was trying to be this character that I wasn't, not just with her now, but also with other people, and I was pushing people away instead of bringing them closer. It was just a very odd experience. I'm glad that at the time I had people that brought me out of that state. There were people who, despite seeing the things I were doing and how I was behaving at the time, they really told me off, and well, turned out great. But that was all, like I said, a very important lesson that I had to learn. And just that experience in general, it taught me that, and that experience taught me in a very hard way that losing your true self and losing your own sense of self to please others and to fit into those molds that people want you to fit into only leads to unhappiness. And you will never be happy doing that. Never. So eventually, after a lot of reflecting and a lot of, I don't want to say dwelling on the situation, but a lot of reflecting, I realized that I didn't want to have the need in anyone's validation to feel whole. And I didn't want to be dependent on someone else to be happy. So I didn't want to act in a certain way for that person to make me happy, or otherwise they pull back and whatever. You understand what I'm talking about. You don't act in a certain way, they pull back, they don't talk to you anymore. It's a very messy, and it never leads to anything good. So at that point, I started focusing more on, for one, my interests, my personal goals, things that made me happy, right? Things that thought were bringing me joy, and I've just gone all in on those things. One of the biggest things that helped me is working out. I love going to the gym. I love working out. I love exercise. And just doing that by myself and really going all in on it and really going through the process and learning more about it has helped me heal and overcome this nasty situation. Doing things that are fun, but doing them by myself without having other people, without looking for people to do it with, without having any seeking any approval of doing that thing from anybody else. I think now is a good time to go into what I think people can do and what I did again in order to bring out that inner happiness and learn to be happy by yourself. And I think the two most important things is one, you have to analyze who you're friends with, who people that are close to you are, and whether you should be close with them in the first place or you're acting in ways that sabotage your own happiness in order to make those people happy, aka people pleasing. That is one thing. The second thing is, just as I did, you have to start doing things that either you consider fun or that could be new experiences, new fun things to try. You have to start doing it by yourself, spending more time by yourself doing those things. If you learn to have a good time just by yourself, not laying in bed and doom scrolling or watching Netflix and eating all day and feeling like shit because you see, oh, I'm laying in bed, I'm such a loser, I hate this. No, that's not gonna work. You have to do things that you would consider to be fun to do with other people and just do them by yourself. In doing that, you are teaching your mind and you're teaching your body to be able to seek happiness and that feeling of fulfillment in your own actions. That's why I said for me, exercising was a very big part in this since I already loved sports and I loved exercise and just being able to go very hard on it, learn more about it, and this learning the science behind weightlifting and working out in general, it was amazing. It helped me a lot to find my own sense of fulfillment that came from me and my actions. Another thing I would say is very important to do is to just get off social media. Get off 2 hours a day and just during those 2 hours, like I said, do something that you could enjoy doing by yourself. Just train yourself to do something by yourself. And in general, you should be spending less time on social media overall. Whether we like it or not, we compare ourselves to people all the time, right? On the street, on social media, it doesn't matter. It just so happens that when you go out and you're comparing yourself to someone outside, you see it for a microsecond and whatever. If you're scrolling on TikTok, on Instagram, and you see this person's profile, right? And he or she is saying, oh, my life is so great. I go to vacations every week. I have this much money. I have this kind of clothes. I do this. Even if you're not doing it consciously, you are comparing yourself to those people and you're comparing your lifestyle to theirs. Now, the biggest thing about this is that those people and people on social media in general don't post their real life, right? I feel like this is a very wide known thing. People only post stuff that they want other people to see in them, and they create this image of themselves, like just like we talked about earlier, where it's not a real person. You're essentially seeing the ideal version of whatever that person is, the way they want to everyone to see them. And everyone wants to be seen in a good light by everybody else. That's just how it is, right? You don't want people to think of you as a bad person. Nobody does. Some people don't care, but most people do. And nobody wants to be seen as the bad guy. Nobody wants to be seen as a loser. Nobody, it's just how it is, right? So while you're laying in bed maybe one day and you're watching Netflix, eating chips, whatever, eating junk food, and you see these people and you start comparing. But in the meantime, those people are probably just as sad as you are at times, just as anxious as you are at times, do the exact same things. Those people are also people, but they don't show it. So you subconsciously don't compare your life to that. You don't think about that. Especially when you have the ability to go through someone's entire page and see essentially their whole life through social media. So definitely get off social media. I know this went into quite a rant, but definitely get off social media. Go get some fresh air, go to a park, go for a walk, listen to some music, meditate, go exercise. Do things that will cause you joy by yourself, not through and not don't compare your happiness to others people's happiness. Last but not least, you should 100% exercise. 100%. This goes without question. I'm not saying go hardcore in the gym and go lift 500 pounds, 500, 200 kilograms. You don't have to do that, but just any exercise, even going for a walk, going for just walking on the street, walking on a treadmill, cycling, it doesn't matter what you do. Just get exercising in your lifestyle one way or another, because a healthy body is a healthy mind. There is a direct correlation between your physiology and your mental health. And I can't stress enough how important it is to actually take care of your body. Obviously, there's also the food you eat, whatever, but just exercise just a little bit every other day. Go for walks, go for runs, do whatever you find enjoyable. You don't have to fit into the whole fitness industry standards, and you don't have to go and do a billion push-ups, run an ultra marathon like David Goggins. You don't have to do that. Just get some exercise in. If you want to read a great book about this and about how to feel better in general, how to have unlimited power, so to speak, read a book called Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. A very great book. Helped me a lot. I read it back when my situation happened, and honestly, helped me a ton. Take the concepts that the book talks about, apply them, and trust me, you will be better off. Amazing book. Tony Robbins in general is just an amazing guy. So, and lastly, I want to talk about why it's important to be happy by yourself. At the end of the day, we are all alone, right? Everybody is alone. Everyone will be alone at some point in their life. There are very few cases of people who have someone to lean on and who have someone to accompany them through their entire life. I'm not even talking about marriage. It is not common for people to have someone on speed dial 24/7 to be able to call and talk about their problems. Now it's obviously easier in the digital age, but still, not everyone has close friends like that. Not everyone has people they can rely on like that. And you have to learn to be self-sufficient, right? And a part of that being self-sufficient is being able to find joy by yourself and find happiness by yourself, because you're not always going to be able to rely on people and be dependent on people for these things. Just like borrowing money from somebody. Sometimes if you need $100, maybe your friend can lend you $100, or maybe someone will be charitable enough to just give you $100 outwards, right? Not expect anything in return. But what do you do when you can get $100 out of them? What do you do when you can't get that money out of anybody in your surrounding? It's the same with happiness. Sometimes you can rely on people to make you happy, but more often than not, the only person that's there for you is you, right? It's you, that's it. So that is one thing why it's very important to learn to be happy by yourself and to be able to draw out happiness from your own experiences. And another thing is you affect everyone that's around you, and everyone that's around you affects you. Your surrounding, your closest people affect you this in the same way that you affect them. And this doesn't even have to be, and this can be either romantic or platonic, it does not matter. You affect people that are close to you, people that are close to you affect you. If you are sad, right, and the only way that you can find happiness is to go and spend time with those people, or you're so dependent on those people that without them you don't know what to do with your problems, you're lost, you get depressed, you're anxious, that will imprint onto them. It will imprint onto them. They might pick up the bad habits that you have because of those things, and ultimately it's a lose-lose situation for everybody. Now, keep in mind, if you have a person that pushes you to be better, and if there are people that stick with you even despite these downsides, you being upset, if there's people that help you, that genuinely want you to be better, that push you to be a better person, that make you go to the gym, make you eat better, make you dress better, make you more ambitious, get you productive, latch onto those people and do not ever let go. Keep those people around you, because believe it or not, those people are it's very rare that you find someone who will unconditionally want you to be better and push you to be better. If you have people like that in your life, please do yourself a favor and do anything you can to stay with them. To stay with them, to be close with them, help them out just like they're helping you. Just trust me, it's very important. But again, at the end of the day, if you have problems and the only way that you can resolve them is by being with another person, and this can be especially observed in romantic relationships, where one person's problems will directly affect another person's problems if they can't deal with it by themselves. Everybody should have outside of their friendships, everybody should have a life of their own where they're self-sufficient, they know what they need to do for their problems. Like I said, they can find happiness by themselves. So that is pretty much it. I feel like this is a very important thing to talk about, and I feel like not enough people are talking about it, especially considering how isolated many of us are these days. People spend all their time on social media. Some people don't even go outside anymore. Guys, find your inner happiness. Learn to be happy by yourself. Do what, again, do what I said, don't do what I said. Find your own solutions to these problems. But you have to be self-sufficient and you have to find ways to be happy by yourself. Thank you for watching. The next episode of Real Talk should come out in a couple days, probably Sunday or Monday for UK time, but we'll see.